Alright, howdy gents, welcome back to more Broken Arrow. Earlier this week on a live stream, they showed off some Broken Arrow, including gameplay and a ton of other supporting information. Today we'll take a look at their deck and unit customization, as well as the editor that will be shipped with the game. In a future video, which will come very soon, I will take a look at the 11 minutes of gameplay they showed, and I'll give you my thoughts on all of that. So starting off with deck customization, there's currently two factions in the game, Russia and the USA. They each have 4 specializations. Think almost like World in Conflict, where you had air, armor, infantry, and support. Here they have that same system, but in World in Conflict you picked one and you played with it. Here you're supposed to pick 2 specializations every time you make a deck, much like Steel Division or Wargame. This means you can have up to 6 different variations of picking between these 4, and there's slightly different specs available for the US as well as for the Russians. In the video, they mouse over the Marine Expeditionary unit, an armored unit, and an air mobile unit on the US faction. The 4th one, we can't really tell what it is. It looks to be some sort of artillery or support icon, so that would kind of be in line with World in Conflict, having, infantry, armor, air, and support. On the Russian side of things, we know even less because they don't even hover over their specs, but just based on the pictures, we can sort of make out that the first one would most likely be airborne or air mobile in the form of the VDV, and then the middle 2 are really a guess on my end, with being armor and then moto or mechanized, with the final one obviously having to be naval infantry from the Russian side of things. Inside each deck, you will find 7 specialized groups, much like Wargame or Steel Division: recon, infantry, vehicle, support, logistic, helicopter, and aircraft. The specializations you pick before you make a deck will directly impact how many slots each of these 7 specialized groups has. So for example, when you focus on armor and infantry, you'll most likely have a large amount of infantry and vehicle slots, but your helicopter and aircraft slots will not be as large. So every category, recon, infantry, vehicle, etc., comes with a maximum number of points you can assign, besides being limited in the amount of slots. So you could either fill in all the slots with low or medium tier units, or fill in just a bunch of slots with some very high-end units. Again, this number changes depending on your specialization. So besides the fact that an armor player will have more vehicle slots, he will also have a higher maximum amount of points he can bring. Now on to unit customization. According to the developer, there are already over 200 units in game, and that doesn't include stuff like customizing your units. For example, the M1A1 Abrams tank they show here is 350 points. If you decide to add the Arat armor, it adds another 25 points. It obviously also includes its survivability. Now you can change more on units than just their armor. For example, here on the HIMARS MLRS, you can add weapons like a 240 machine gun, an M250 caliber machine gun, or actually a Mark 19 automatic grenade launcher. Now specific to this HIMARS that they show off, you can also change the ammo type, whether you want regular ammo or cluster ammo. It just means that unit becomes more or less expensive. If we go back in the stream, we can actually take a look at some of the cards that they show here. For example, here is the Lav AT. The shield with the plus most likely resembles some sort of hit point system. Again, think of Wargame Red Dragon. The arrow with the vehicle in it must be the ground speed of the unit. The binocular icon would most likely refer to how good the unit is at spotting or how good the optics are. The crossed out eye seems to be its stealth value, with a lower rating being better, but we'll get to that in a second. The weight symbol there obviously implies this unit weighs 12,700 pounds or 12,700 kilos, and this might be important when you want to airlift units via helicopter or aircraft. These aircraft will have a max loading capacity. The heavier the unit, the less likely it is it'll fit inside of an air transport. Now for the LAV-AT specifically, they also show what appears to be the amphibious speed, which seems to be about half of its regular land speed. Moving to the M1297 GMV, we can see a little passenger icon. This obviously means it can take 9 soldiers soldiers into battle. Moving to the Osprey, this actually has a second icon besides the hit points. This could probably imply it has some sort of armor that starts to get damaged before its hit points become affected. The helicopter and the circle next to it are a little bit of a mystery to me. Judging off of Wargame, it most likely means the turn rate of the aircraft, because this is both displayed for helicopters and planes. The last icon shows perhaps what appears to be a container being lifted. So this is either the total max carrying weight capacity or the maximum weight a unit can be to be carried. So either it can carry multiple units up to that, or that's the total amount of weight it can carry before it can't lift off anymore. Now going to the card for the Marines, we can see another icon with a bunch of characters. This would probably refer to its squad size. Here they have a 13 squad size. We can see they have a 0.5 stealth rating, with Force Recon having an even lower one at 0.25, and which makes sense. Infantry would be stealthier than a Lav AT, so here's where my assumption comes from, that a lower stealth rating is better for the unit. Quickly moving on to the scenario editor, where they didn't really talk about this a lot. It had about a 60-second gameplay clip, but it is something I think I am very excited about, and you should probably be too. If they plan to integrate Steam Workshop support, allowing the community to make their own missions or battles, and having that easily accessible via the Steam Workshop, has done some really big things for games like Men of War and Company of Heroes. I can only imagine how much people would mess around with an editor like this that was easily accessible when it came to Wargame Red Dragon, because I know a lot of people like the single player aspect of that game. Interesting note here is the dev says it's the same system they use to build stuff in the game themselves. It does look quite intimidating. Then again, so does Arma's editor, and you just learn that to a large degree by doing stuff in it, getting experience with it. Personally, I think it's awesome to see they give us, the community, the tool they themselves use as well. Again, it's a very short clip, but it's awesome that they are already talking about how they want to include this in the game for the community to mess with. Again, they have not mentioned anything about Steam Workshop support. That's just something I've really hoped to see. It makes it so much easier to share and play content from and by the community when you can access it through something simple like Steam Workshop. This was a shorter video. I will make a video on the gameplay they released as well. For now, I hope you guys thought this was informative. I'll love to see you in the next one. Cheers.